and Dave Bennett. They ended up helping us board that window up, so we're now at least at the bottom half, and that window was broken on that particular thing. Yeah. Did you catch them?
The alarm went off. It wasn't an attempt to break, more than just, they actually pried the window off. Someone tried to get in. Right. The alarm was set and it sounded and probably scared.
Right, because there was a large piece of macadam about this big and about that thick inside the building when we were there. The other item is that I want to end up talking about, again, on East Templeton. I was approached by an individual asking anonymously if we ended up, as a community, had a fund to rehab that building as a town building. This individual is looking to make a donation to the community to see that building end up getting back into use as a town building. So I'm throwing that out, is if we do have a fund, that individual is looking to end up making an anonymous donation. I have no idea if it's $5 or $500 or whatever.
And I think that the East Templeton School should probably definitely be something sooner rather than later that is on our agenda to discuss kind of at length, and kind of what our plans are for the building and moving forward. And I think that would probably be a good time to discuss that as well. So I will look at putting the school as a unit and the various, excuse me, the kind of items that go along with the school, such as possible funding, avenues of fund, to be an item that's on an agenda coming up soon. To
I think we could make a, like we did with this Pajari money, that was, we created a capital stabilization account. So it took a 2/3 vote to put it in, took a 2/3 vote to get it out. And it had to be for a capital project, like the playground or a building. It couldn't be spent on salaries or wages. So we could set up a capital stabilization account for East Templeton. And if people wanted to donate, I think that, can that happen?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. Can we accept donations
You can
as a
always accept
municipality?
gifts. Yeah, certainly.
But I think
They
if
can
we
be
had an
identified to a
account dedicated.
particular cause or to the general fund. It's up to the giver of the gift to identify the purpose and the use of the gift.
Okay. Now, do we have to go to town meeting to establish this account as we did with the Pajori?
I think to make it a stabilization account, you would. We could have the accountant open an account on the town's books, a simple account, for the receipt of gifts. That does not require any action. To specify that it is a capital stabilization account for a particular purpose, East Templeton Elementary School only, and only to be used for that purpose, you should get a town meeting vote. Although you could probably do it at the special. It's
I was going to say, we're going to make
That's
a
why-
motion that we make an article for the special town meeting to create that capital stabilization account.
I'll get back to this individual and tell him that that's possible.
okay.
Sue has a
Hmm?
hand up. Sue has a
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm assuming that the CPA money can't be brought up as a special, that has to be at an annual?
I don't know the answer to that, honestly.
And I just wanted to point out, in talking with a lot of parents who supported the school, who attended the meeting, they were very confused by that amount and didn't understand exactly what the CPA and their reasoning was. Well, why wasn't that $250,000 put into it when there were actually children in the school? One, and two, why couldn't that $250,000 go to the school? And, for what they needed. And I ended up being blue in the face talking to more people, explaining CPA, 1/3 has to go to historic, preservation, thank you. And that, 1/3 to
Open space, 1/3 to
elderly and
housing.
opening and all that stuff, and explained that, and said that that's a separate monies that collected on your tax bill. It's usually about $20 to $30, and that it's matched. We've been lucky in the past, it's gotten matched at 100%, and that, it can only be spent Oh, that's what they all said, so, if it could be brought up again, I think it would be worth bringing up again, because, I mean, no offense, are we gonna, how many more tombs do we have to restore? I mean, we fixed the Grange, we've fixed tombs, we even fixed a person's personal home. I mean, short of saying, well,
Well,
let's
we've
renovate
reserved all
everybody
kinds
who
of
lives
land.
up at the center.
Right,
No
I
offense to
definitely-
anybody who lives up at the center, I mean, it's a good, and there was a lot of misconception out there with that.
In talking with the accountant, there is approximately $900,000 in that CPA fund, or there should be in that fund, so that that's money that can end up being used.
Is that just in the historical part of it, or is that in the
No,
entire fund?
that's for the
Total
entire,
balance.
that's for the entire.
That's the total thing,
Right.
okay.
And it's culturally significant.
Culturally, yeah, okay.
Yes, that's
Sorry,
right.
yes,
Get that
culturally,
correct.
Right, yeah.
There is a big difference.
And I do know every year we put, whether or not we spend it, we put
Right.
what we collect, the 1/3 into each of the, and then
Right.
a little bit into the administrative cost, yeah.
But there is a large pool of money there.
That's
Right.
correct.
I'm not saying all of that money should be used for one project, but it is an option in these tight fiscal times. I don't know, it would have to go back to CPC for approval.
In a discussion with Mr. Hinshaw, there was some thinking that we would maybe come back in the fall. At least he thought we could come back in the fall and represent that, especially after we ended up doing some basically marketing and actually tell people what that whole fund is and what the purpose of stabilization for that building, and not let it deteriorate. And that it wouldn't have a historic restriction on that. It's just that they could end up saving that building today before we can end up looking at other funds to actually complete that entire project. The roof in itself is over $100,000, and the heating system is about 75. We've got estimates, and if there was some work done by volunteers, that probably on the heating system could be brought down somewhere in the vicinity of 50,000 to 60,000 from a local contractor. And that's at prevailing wage, believe it or not.
So these sound like they would be good agenda items to.
Especially when we're talking about a building, and I think I've mentioned this, that is assessed by our town assessors with the land is $891,000. This amount of money to save that type of building,
Right.
whether we use it for a town hall or we end up at some point making that decision and even selling it, without a roof, it will just continue to deteriorate. And I welcome anybody to come over there. I'll be happy to show you what has been done to take it thus far. And right now, with the tarp, it made it through one winter. I'm not sure it will make it through a second winter.
Okay.
Can I ask
Sure.
a question? The work that needs to be done, if we didn't get approval to this until the fall town meeting, would the work still be able to be done after that, or will it be too late in the season for the work that needs to be done?
Depending on when the fall special town meeting would be, you'd have to go through a bidding process. You're better in position than I
3
am.
weeks. If you're ready to go the day after town meeting, it's still 3 weeks minimum before you make the selection. So, and then they need, maybe a week to get started, so a month after the decision.
And
To actually
depending-
start work at a minimum.
Yeah. so you're
Depending on the
probably
weather,
December then.
would depend on whether we could end up doing that. Last year, even up until December, we actually put the tarp on in December, so we had no snow at that particular time. So if there's no snow, it can end up being done before the first of the year. But all bets are off. I mean, they've even done roofs, from what I understand from some of the contractors, with snow. It's just a little more labor intense,
More work, more
a little
money.
more difficult.
Let's try to just
So it's probably
move it forward
appropriate
and
to
see.
Yeah.
see if we can do it at this upcoming special
Yeah.
town meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we can move it along.
Mr. Ritter, did you want to discuss the job postings at this time?
There are two postings. I've already mentioned briefly that the Director of Council on Aging posting is up, and it's going in the Gardner News this Friday, and we are open to receiving applicants for that position, which closes on June 19th, I believe. I won't swear to it, but I think that closes on June 19th. The other posting, the Assistant Town Clerk has tendered her resignation effective June 30th. And Kate, help me out, there's no posting yet. But the issue before the board is, you know, should we in fact post that position, and when? And do you wish to authorize the town clerk to go through the process to post that vacancy for a July 1 starting time or subsequent to July 1? At the existing level and grade that it is, it would probably be starting level. I haven't checked the grade, but it would certainly be appropriate to endorse the posting.
Yes, Sue?
I'm just curious, are these being posted in-house first?
No, the Council on Aging Director is not an internal posting because it's a department head. Town policies and procedures say that where it's a department head posting, you post widely as possible.
Right, okay, but the assistant
Assistant,
one?
I don't know. Frankly, that's a little out of my jurisdiction, because it's a separate legal entity, the town clerk's office. It's an assistant position, so it certainly doesn't have to be posted outside the town. Whether it should be posted internally, I don't know. Whether the rule that we have would actually apply there or not. It's the exception that might prove the rule.
In the past, it was posted internally first.
Mhm.
That's how Karen got it. Just, but you know, what was.
That was, yeah.
Past practice,
Is this
past
position
practice.
part of the negotiations with the new union?
I don't know yet, because we have not finalized the actual list, because we've not had a negotiation as to specifically who's in and who's out.
I don't think it was, because I think it was an under 20, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, so that some of the under 20, you know, we're
Well, I
waffling
don't know.
on this.
I'm
Some of
not,
the under
but
20s,
supposedly I make
I don't really
rules.
know who they're gonna represent, it's really, until we sit down and have the first negotiating
Okay.
session. We don't know who is in, they certainly ruled out people who work 5 hours a week, and we have a few of those. So, yeah, you couldn't possibly, but if someone who's 18, headed for 20 or 22, they may wish to represent, so the answer is I don't know.
Well,
One of the things that the board might consider is to not post that yet until we know if we're going to end up moving everybody from that building into here, where you could end up getting consolidation and actually give more hours to an individual from another department and cover both departments here, and that would be a cost savings going forward. I mean, especially if we end up getting the additional space that we've gone out to advertise for.
and does it require any action on our part, correct? Because
You
it
don't have to
falls
take a
under-
vote certainly, or make a motion, just in the course of, due course of business indicate whether you think posting should go forward or not. We don't have to decide tonight, so.
Okay.
We should, courtesy would say we should act within a week or so to let the town clerk know what she should post, and, you know, internally or externally, and what rate of pay, et cetera, et cetera. The board is now acting as the personnel board, so technically it's a personnel board decision, and technically state law reserves to the town clerk and her office and her assistants a special category of exclusivity in town, because it's the oldest office in town, in municipal governance. So it's not like the police department or the select board, it's its own little piece of turf, the town clerk. I have a couple of other
In the past.
simple items. I'm glad Kathy's here. I don't know if you got the word. We got an email from Galaxy Internet Services today. So close. They are ending our internet's email, website, and support effective June 25th. I'll talk to you tomorrow, but thankfully, the guys from Virtual Town Hall are in tomorrow. I'll talk to them. I'll talk to you, Kathy, but we have to do something immediately, or we will be off here June 25th. They discourteously gave us 30 days, no, 28 days notice, that they're just pulling the plug, they're going out of business. After many years of supporting us, they're just gone. So we will have to make an immediate alternative arrangement for email and web hosting, at least for that little interregnum, whatever we do till we get a new site up and running. It's not the end of the world, but it's just an annoyance, is what it is. The last item that I have is to request the board's consideration on something. We have in the past used an accountant, a special accountant, to come in and, especially when the treasurer's office was in disarray, we brought in a forensic accountant briefly to tide us over. He did some work on debt before Dan arrived as the treasurer. And we wanted to make the request at this time and to pay out of select board expenses to bring an accountant, a forensic accountant in to help the town through its fiscal year 13 reconciliation process. As you know, we've moved from city and town to a new piece of software called Vadar, and we need to reconcile all of the accounts right up to April 11th in this fiscal year. So the idea is to bring this gentleman for probably a day or two at, listen carefully, at $85 an hour. So one day of his time is, close to $400. But presumably we're talking about 2 days of work, give or take, in order to get us reconciled and right up to date with up to and through April 11th when we move on to our Vadar set of chart of accounts, April 11th of this year that we're in. So this is for the months July, August, September through March.
We've used this individual before,
His name is Matt Angel. Yes, we've used him in the past.
and have we been pleased with the work he's done in the past?
Very pleased. Yeah, he is a CPA and a JD, both.
Oh,
So, ironically licensed in 2 states, both Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He is a tax accountant, but he has his practice on the side of doing municipal accounting here and there. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see the importance of getting the 2 sets of books, reconciled.
In sync, reconciled and in sync.
we've
It's
got,
a big deal.
and we have the money.
we have the money in the select board account. We're talking $800 to $1,000 to, he's tentatively scheduled to come Friday, but we haven't really done a scope of work because I want the public and the board to know and make the decision, and then I actually propose back to you a specific scope of work, services, number of hours, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
But this is an engagement of under $1,000.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly endorse this. We don't want to go where we were last year, not getting our books closed
Yeah.
and setting the tax rate.
Right.
So this is definitely a move in the right direction.
Yep. I agree.
So I will make that motion? All right,
And I'll second that.
Okay, Julie,
yes.
Doug,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Thank you.
And is that it from you, Jeff? I just have 2 announcements. The 39th Annual Templeton Arts and Crafts Festival, which is August 17th and 18th. They're looking for volunteers to join. If you would like to be involved, please contact Darlene LeClaire at 978-939-7323. They're looking, they need adults to step up to help a few hours for that week. And if they can't get more help, there's a note that this may be the last year of the fair. They really need the help with that. And then also, you are cordially invited to the 20th Annual Greater Gardner Area Relay for Life on June 7th and 8th, 2013 at Mount Wachusett Community College in Gardner, Massachusetts. You can RSVP to Marcia Sharkey at 617-842-7190. And is there anything else I would like to share? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Okay. Okay, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.